Late at night on January 28, 2003, the silence inside a Manhattan apartment building in New York City was shattered by the sound of FBI agents forcing their way in. The man pinned against the wall, Andrew Carlson, showed no sign of panic on his face, only a faint, inscrutable smile. No one could have imagined that this seemingly ordinary 44-year-old man had turned an initial stake of just $800 into $350 million in a mere 2 weeks. And when confronted by FBI agents accusing him of insider trading, Carlson calmly delivered words that froze the entire interrogation room. "I'm not guilty of insider trading. I'm a time traveler from the year 2256. I already knew how these stocks would move. From $800 to $350 million. 14 days, 126 trades, a 100% success rate. Such a miracle in the stock market was enough to make even the most elite Wall Street traders bow in disbelief. Yet what was even more bizarre was that the man who created this miracle turned out to be a complete ghost in the U.S. identity system. He had no birth certificate, no social security records, and no trace of any previous life. It was as if he had suddenly appeared in the world in January 2003. The FBI's interrogation records were classified, but they were quietly leaked not long afterward. When the phrase time traveler entered public view, the United States, and soon the entire world, was thrown into a frenzy. Some firmly believed he was a visitor from the future, holding secrets capable of changing the world. Others suspected an elaborately staged financial scam backed by powerful interest groups. Still others speculated that the story was merely a smokescreen designed to conceal some form of advanced government technology. So what was the truth? Concrete proof of time travel or an absurd hoax? To find out, we must return to that turbulent winter of 2003 and retrace, step by step, the full trajectory of Andrew Carlson's rise to sudden wealth, his arrest, and his mysterious disappearance. In January 2003, Wall Street was gripped by cold winds carrying the stench of despair. The year before, the Nasdaq Composite had plunged 21%. The aftermath of the dot-com bubble burst swept through the financial markets like a tsunami. Countless investors went from millionaires to penniless overnight. Long lines formed outside banks as people rushed to withdraw their savings, while screams echoed through brokerage halls as traders tore up their transaction slips. Scenes that had become tragically routine. Market confidence had fallen to rock bottom. Even the most stable blue-chip stocks were in a steady decline, and no one dared to make a move. It was against this backdrop that the name Andrew Carlson first appeared in the monitoring systems of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. According to information later disclosed by the SEC, Carlson first entered the stock trading system on January 14, 2003. He opened a standard brokerage account and deposited just $800, a sum that, on Wall Street at the time, did not even meet the threshold for a beginner investor. What happened next completely overturned everything people thought they knew about the stock market. Carlson's trading style defied every established rule on Wall Street. He paid no attention to macroeconomic data, ignored corporate financial reports, and never followed investment advice from brokerage firms. Instead, he targeted small-cap and junk stocks on the brink of bankruptcy, stocks that the market had entirely abandoned. Many of them had suffered losses for years or were facing imminent delisting, the kind of poison even the most aggressive speculators refused to touch. Yet Carlson seemed to operate from a godlike vantage point. Every purchase landed precisely moments before positive news broke, and every sale occurred at the absolute peak of a price surge. Not once did he miss. For example, on January 15th, Carlson set his sights on a biotech company called GeneTech. At the time, the company was drowning in debt after a failed research project. Its stock price had collapsed to 50 cents per share, and it was on the verge of being delisted. Yet Carlson did not hesitate. He bought 1,000 shares, investing just $500. While the market mocked him for burning money, at 2 p.m. that same afternoon, GeneTech suddenly held an emergency press conference, announcing the successful development of a new anti-cancer drug targeting late-stage lung cancer, with a clinical trial effectiveness rate as high as 90%. The news sent the stock soaring. Within half an hour, the price jumped from 50 cents to $12, a surge of more than 2,300%. Carlson wasted no time. He sold decisively at the peak, pocketing $23,000 in a single day, turning his initial capital into 46 times its original value. And that was only the beginning of the miracle. On January 20th, Carlson heavily bought shares of All America Airlines, a company on the brink of collapse. At the time, the airline had failed to pay employee salaries for 3 consecutive months and was preparing to file for bankruptcy protection. The very next morning, the U.S. Department of Defense announced a $1 billion military procurement contract with All America Airlines, commissioning the company to handle cross-border transportation of military supplies. The stock surged 300% that day. Once again, Carlson exited with perfect timing, pushing his profits past $1 million. Then on January 25th, Carlson bought shares of a nearly bankrupt oil exploration company. That very night, international oil prices suddenly spiked, and the company announced the discovery of a large oil field in the Gulf of Mexico. The stock price doubled overnight, and Carlson scored yet another decisive victory. A senior SEC official who later took part in the investigation stated bluntly in an interview, "This simply cannot be luck. Even the most elite fund managers could not achieve this kind of return in 2 weeks, let alone maintain a 100% success rate. The only explanation is that he had access to insider information." As a result, on January 28, 2003, FBI agents arrested Andrew Carlson in a small apartment in Manhattan, New York. Facing the agents' handcuffs, Carlson offered no resistance. He merely said calmly, "I knew you would come, but you will never understand who I really am." By then, the media had already sensed a major story. Reports about the mysterious Wall Street stock wizard flooded the headlines. Some speculated that he was a secret proxy for a powerful financial tycoon. Others believed he had cracked the algorithmic code of the stock market. Still others suspected he was an international spy. Everyone was waiting for an answer. How did this man do it? On the night of January 28th, inside an interrogation room at the New York FBI headquarters, harsh white lights illuminated Carlson's face, outlining an expression so calm it was almost unsettling. 2 veteran agents, each with more than 20 years of interrogation experience, sat across from him. The table between them was piled high with thick stacks of trading records, bank statements, and blank interrogation transcripts. In their eyes, this was nothing more than a routine insider trading case. Apply enough pressure, and the man in front of them would eventually reveal the powerful backer behind him. After all, no retail investor could create such an absurd miracle in just 2 weeks. The only possible explanation was access to core insider information. But the moment the interrogation began, Carlson shattered everyone's expectations. "I don't have insider information," Carlson said as he slowly leaned back in his chair. His voice was perfectly calm, without the slightest ripple, as if he were telling someone else's story. He then continued, "The reason I can accurately predict the movement of every stock isn't because I have internal channels. It's because I already know what will happen in the future. In my time, the rise and fall of these stocks are already part of the historical record." The agents assumed he was lying and shouted back at him, "Do you really think a story like that can fool us? If you don't start telling the truth, you're looking at life in prison." Faced with the agents' harsh threats, Carlson did not panic. Instead, he gave a faint smile and then uttered the sentence that would later shock the world. "I'm not from this era. I come from the year 2256. I'm a time traveler. My mission was to return to the past to conduct historical research, and this stock trading was just an impulsive accident." Over the next 4 hours, Carlson gave the agents a detailed account of his time travel experience, with a level of detail that made it difficult to dismiss outright. He said that by the year 2256, humanity had already mastered mature time travel technology. The time craft he traveled in used a quantum entanglement-based navigation system capable of precisely locating any point in history. His return to 2003 was originally meant to collect historical data related to the global economic crisis of the early 21st century. But after arriving, he discovered that the stock market of that era was at a historical low, with a large number of stocks whose future trends were clearly defined. Unable to resist temptation, Carlson gave in to greed. Originally, Carlson had planned to deliberately lose a few trades to make his transaction records look more natural, in order to avoid drawing the attention of regulators. But when he watched his account grow from $800 to $10,000, then $100,000, and then $1 million, he completely lost his rational judgment. He knew that this would eventually be discovered, but he never expected the Securities and Exchange Commission's monitoring system to be so sensitive that it would identify him in just 2 weeks. And in order to prove his identity, Carlson also put forward several predictions of the future. The first prediction, Carlson stated that on March 20th, 2003, the United States would officially invade Iraq, that the war would last for several years, and that it would ultimately end with a U.S. withdrawal. The second prediction, Carlson claimed that Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda, was hiding in a remote village near the Pakistan border, and that he could even provide the exact location. The third prediction, he said that a cure for AIDS would be successfully developed in 2035 with the core technology based on gene editing, and that he could even disclose the key directions of the research. At first, the agents in the interrogation room found Carlson's statements utterly absurd. They had seen countless suspects attempt to lie their way out of trouble, but never before had anyone tried to excuse himself with something as outrageous as being a time traveler. Yet as Carlson continued speaking, a chill gradually crept into their minds. Because when the man in front of them described future scenarios, his logic was coherent and his details precise. Nothing like the ramblings of someone making things up on the spot. He could accurately describe the social structure of the year 2256, the level of technological development, and even the core design and operating principles of the timecraft. What unsettled the agents even more was that the scientific concepts he mentioned, such as the quantum entanglement navigation system and antimatter-based energy supply, were later reviewed by top physicists who concluded that they were theoretically entirely feasible. One agent who participated in the interrogation later said in an anonymous interview, "We actually wavered a little at the time. Carlson's gaze was too steady, and many of the future technologies he described not only sounded outrageous, but also seemed logically consistent." After the interrogation, the SEC and the FBI immediately launched an investigation into Carlson's identity. The results, however, left everyone baffled. Prior to December 2002, there were no official records of Andrew Carlson anywhere in the United States. No birth certificate, no social security number, no educational records, no credit history, not even a trace of consumer activity. It was as if this man had appeared out of thin air in the United States in December 2002, a complete and utter ghost. As a result, Carlson's bizarre testimony pushed the entire case into a deadlock. If Carlson was lying, then there had to be a massive force behind him, one capable of manipulating favorable news across multiple corporations and even influencing national policy. But if he was telling the truth, it would mark the first confirmed proof of time travel in human history, carrying extraordinary implications. With his identity shrouded in mystery and the time traveler claim impossible to verify or falsify, the SEC was temporarily unable to file formal charges against him. After multiple hearings, the court ultimately agreed to release Carlson on $1 million bail, requiring him to return to court on March 10th for further proceedings. For Carlson, who had $350 million sitting in his trading account, a $1 million bail was a trivial sum. Yet strangely, he did not use his own funds. Instead, the bail was paid through an anonymous account by a mysterious individual of unknown identity. Even more unsettling, this mysterious figure left no contact information whatsoever and vanished completely from the financial system after the payment was made. Despite months of investigation, even the FBI failed to uncover a single trace. Some speculated that this mysterious individual was another time traveler like Carlson. Others believed it was an organization attempting to extract information about the future from him. Regardless of the speculation, on February 5, 2003, Carlson was released from custody. He did not grant any media interviews. Instead, he stepped directly into a black sedan and disappeared into the flow of New York traffic. Everyone assumed he would return to court as scheduled on March 10th. No one realized that this would be the last time he was ever seen. On March 10th, the court convened as planned, But Carlson never appeared. The FBI immediately launched a large-scale manhunt. Agents searched the apartment where Carlson had lived, the brokerage firms he had traded through, and the restaurants and hotels he was known to frequent. They even screened every airport, train station, and port in New York. Yet no clues were found. When investigators entered Carlson's apartment, they discovered that everything was neatly arranged. There were no signs of a struggle or of a hurried departure. It was as if he had simply gone out normally and then vanished into thin air. After Carlson's disappearance, the FBI classified the case at the highest level of secrecy and even established a special task force under the codename Temporal Phantom. Investigators re-examined every trace Carlson had left behind, hoping to piece together his whereabouts from the smallest details. But every lead only led them deeper into the fog. For example, when investigators examined the Manhattan apartment where Carlson had lived, they found no fingerprints, no hair, and no biological traces of any kind, as if Carlson had never lived there at all. Even more disturbing, all the furniture and household items in the apartment were brand new, with no signs of use. The only thing left behind was a piece of paper inside a desk drawer, bearing the handwritten numbers 2256.04.17. There were no annotations after the numbers, and no one knew whether they represented a date, coordinates, or some kind of code. Even more shocking was what happened the day after Carlson was released on bail. The $350 million in his account was transferred out in its entirety. The FBI's financial investigation team immediately tracked the flow of funds and discovered that the money was first broken into 126 smaller transfers, sent to anonymous accounts across more than a dozen different countries. After dozens of additional transfers, the money ultimately vanished into the blind spots of the global financial system, becoming completely untraceable. Strikingly, the timing of these 126 transfers perfectly corresponded to his earlier 126 stock trades, as if it were a deliberately staged ritual. Later, a senior FBI official told reporters, "We have never encountered anything like this. A living, breathing person carrying $350 million simply disappeared into thin air." So if Carlson was not a time traveler, then who exactly was he? And how did he manage to pull all of this off? Just as people were struggling to make sense of Carlson's disappearance, the first of his predictions came true. On March 20th, 2003, the United States did indeed launch a military strike against Iraq, and the course of the war unfolded almost exactly as Carlson had described. The news sent shockwaves around the world. What had once been dismissed as an absurd lie suddenly gained a sense of credibility. Countless people began to believe that Carlson truly came from the future, and that his disappearance was the result of him having returned to the year 2256. As the internet rapidly expanded, discussions about Carlson quickly reached a fever pitch, and conspiracy theories multiplied. Some claimed that Carlson had been secretly taken under government control and forced to reveal future technologies. Others said his timecraft had been discovered and was being studied in secret. Still others believed he had never left at all, but was hiding among ordinary people, continuing to observe this era. To support their belief that Carlson was a time traveler, proponents began citing various forms of circumstantial evidence. They pointed out that after 2003, the militaries of multiple countries significantly increased their investment in research on quantum physics and antimatter energy, suggesting covert efforts to develop time travel technology. They also interpreted the Time Crystal Research Project, announced by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency in 2013, as a public signal of time travel research. Other conspiracy researchers argued that Carlson's legendary stock market performance was nothing more than a script orchestrated by multinational financial groups, designed to create a myth during a period of extreme market panic in order to stabilize investor confidence and then harvest retail investors' wealth once again. As for Carlson's predictions about the U.S. invasion of Iraq and the killing of Osama bin Laden, they argued that these were political events that could be manipulated in advance. Carlson's prophecies, in their view, were merely forecasts or even tools used by certain powers to shape future political outcomes. No matter which theory one believed, none of them came with conclusive evidence. In 2010, The FBI's Temporal Phantom Task Force officially announced the case closed. The final report contained only a single conclusion: leads exhausted, investigation cannot continue. It made no mention whatsoever of Carlson's identity or whereabouts. The report was classified at the highest level and has never been released to the public to this day.